everyone, and welcome back to Sundays in the Garden. If you're new to the channel, my name's Sarah, and on my channel I share everything I get up to in my English cottage garden, my kitchen garden area, and as of 2025 my brand new allotment as well. In 2025 I've been filming every single day of my gardening year. It was a challenge I set myself back at the end of last year to see if I could document an entire year in my garden, documenting what I'm sowing when, what's going well, what's not going well, what I'm up to. So far it's been going well. I think when you're watching this it will be November the 16th, and I have managed to film every single day since January the 1st. It's been an amazing year. Some really fantastic things have been happening. We've had some sadnesses personally in the family, some amazing experiences in the garden and in the gardening world, events I visited, and I was involved in a build of a show garden at Gardener'S Live, and loads of lovely, lovely things this year, which I've been able to film and document as the year has gone past. Now we're in November, lots is going on at the allotment, so there's lots of jobs to be getting on with. At the end of last week's video, you will have seen that we were clearing the areas for some new compost bays. So let me jump you back now to Sunday, the 9th of November, so you can see if we managed to get it all done. Hello everyone, it is Sunday, and we are back down the allotment. Anyone who's following the journey will remember that yesterday we prepared the area for the compost bays, and today we're here trying to put them in. So I am going to dig a trench because we're going to have to sink them in slightly just because we're on a slope, and that's how it's going to have to work. But I'm digging a trench so they can sit reasonably flush, and then I'll show you how we're going to go about building them. At the moment I'm digging, my boys are playing, and my husband has been he's gone home because we've got 10 pallets to bring down for this project, and he is going to have to do a few trips backwards and forwards to get them here, so that's what he's doing at the moment. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see how this all looks, but I have got to get digging, so enough talking and more digging. Let's go. So to start off with, as we are on a slope, I had to dig these trenches to sit the compost bays in so that we could make them level. They are going to back onto my neighbour's compost bays that you see here, and so I spent a good hour or so just sorting this trench out before we began the build. When my husband arrived back with the pallets, we stacked them up and then checked them all over to make sure they had the HT stamp, which means heat treated, and not the MB stamp, which means chemically treated, because we don't want those chemicals leaching into our new compost. We then put the pallets together using some braces and some decking screws, joined at the corners with these little corner braces, as well as the decking screws that we put through, as well as extra security. The corner supports were at the top and the bottom of the structure, so it was really secure when we'd finished. Then we spent a bit more time levelling the trench off, so me and my husband both grabbed a spade and just spent some time levelling these trenches off. Then the camera went down and we just got on with putting them together and putting them in. And here they are, looking absolutely wonderful, completely level, and just absolutely amazing in their new home. Then it was time to make the door sections, so we cut a pallet in half, put a small section at the bottom of the bays to keep any compost in, and then we used the top half to make the door itself, which we attached with hinges and also some little clip clasps to keep them closed. We managed to get 2 done on this day, and we've still got 1 to finish. These are the little clasps that we use to close the doors, and we are just absolutely over the moon with these. I think they're going to be so useful, so cost effective, and we didn't pay for these pallets at all. They were free off Facebook Marketplace. Absolutely brilliant. Hello. Oh, bit chillier today. It's Monday and we've had a busy day. It's now, I think, about 3:30, and I haven't got loads of time to get things done. I have just noticed a cornflower up in the kitchen garden area, and it's one of my granddad's cornflowers that self-seeded itself, and I would quite like it not to die and to keep it going till next year. So I'm going to go and see if I can dig that up and bring it in, pop it in a small pot into the greenhouse and see if we can keep it going. I've got some cornflowers that have germinated inside. I'm going to bring those out, and they've gone really leggy inside. So I'm going to pot those on into individual pots as well and bury the stem a little bit to slow them down. I think that's all I'm going to have time for today. But as I always say, some days we have time for loads, some days we have time for less, and just keeping moving forward little by little, we'll get there in the end. At least at this time of year, things are a bit slower pace, so we can take our time with things and still get to where we need to be in the end. Also, before I forget, I wanted to share with you some really exciting news. I think a few weeks ago I alluded to a few things that I've got in the pipeline for next year, and one of them I would love to share with you now. As of January 2026, I'm going to be writing a monthly little feature in Kitchen Garden magazine, which is just so exciting. It's going to be a prosy piece documenting what I'm getting up to in the cottage garden, the kitchen garden and the allotment, my thoughts at this time of year when the articles go out, and everything else that kind of makes up my gardening year. And it's going to be documented month by month. There'll be some photos of the garden and allotment at those times and the things I'm doing. And I really hope you enjoy it. So if you get Kitchen Garden magazine, then look out for that coming in January 2026. But enough waffling, let's get on with these jobs and then I can get back inside because I've got teaching tonight, so I best get cracking. Hello everyone, it's Tuesday today and it's Armistice Day here in the UK. So we did some activities in our homestead this morning around that. We did a walk down to the War Memorial, we went to the local scout hut which is decorated beautifully for Armistice Day. We observed the silence at 11 o'clock, we did some crafting related to poppies, we watched some documentaries on why it's an important day, all that kind of thing. We had a lovely time. But now I'm here, it's 3 o'clock. We lose light very quickly now at this time, so I think it's going to be dark in about an hour. So I'm just going to get some weeding done and then I'm home to teach this evening. So let's see what I can get done. I have bought some baskets to dig up some of the potatoes and see what I've got underneath there as well. So I'll try and do that as well. Let's go. So these potatoes were planted on the 3rd of August and this is where they're up to. So the middle row are Charlottes and they've nearly completely died back, and the row behind are Maris Pipers and they're not far behind. So let's get digging and see what this middle row is looking like. What a fantastic November harvest, all from one row of Charlotte potatoes. Wednesday started in the greenhouse checking on the crocus bulbs I planted last week. Unfortunately, a mouse has been digging around in here, but they don't seem to have taken the bulbs, just had a good dig around, so not too bad. I then planted an amaryllis for Christmas. This one's a red variety, so I'll keep you posted on how that does. And then we enjoyed some of the lovely Charlotte potatoes with some bangers and mash for lunch. Then it was out into the garden to clear the guttering on the greenhouse, before popping into the greenhouse and chatting about how I store my potatoes. Hello everyone, hope you're all okay. It's Wednesday today and we have been just enjoying our homegrown potatoes that I dug up yesterday. They were absolutely delicious. The ones I dug up yesterday were our Charlottes and we've got lots of Maris Pipers still in the ground, so hopefully they'll be just as lovely when we dig those up and we'll be able to store those definitely for Christmas, because it'd be great to have some Christmas potatoes and maybe even longer. We'll have to wait and see. So today, in order to store my potatoes, I have brought them into the greenhouse to do a couple of things. So I thought I'd share that with you. If anyone's got potatoes growing in containers, I've still got one set of potatoes in containers that I've just brought inside. I would suggest leaving them in the containers. What I do with container grown potatoes is once the foliage has died back, I just take off the foliage, bring them somewhere dark. Greenhouse is not the best place. Cool and dry. Greenhouse is good for the cool and the dry. I'm hoping that because they're underneath the compost, they'll be reasonably dark, but I could put them in the shed, the garage, or somewhere under cover slightly. But they tend to store pretty well like that. The reason that they can go bad is if they start to rot in the soil. So as long as they're not in the wet, then hopefully they'll store okay in here. And then I can just tip them out when I need them, which is brilliant. For potatoes in the ground, obviously, once the foliage has died back, if you don't dig them up fairly sharpish, then you can be at risk of them rotting under the soil. So obviously you saw me dig up my potatoes yesterday. And then to store them over the winter, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to cure them. And to cure them, I've got them here in a little, what would you call these, plastic storage container. And this just allows plenty of airflow around the potatoes. I'm going to put them somewhere dark and cool and dry, being our garage in this case, and then leave them for about 7 to 10 days. And then hopefully that will allow the skin to cure. It's really important not to clean your potatoes, because if you scrub off all of the mud before you put them into storage, then you'll just find that that's really weakening the skin and they won't store nearly as well. So keeping them with a bit of mud on is definitely the best course of action for storage. And then you can wash them when you need them. But these are going to go into the garage for 7 to 10 days. Then once they've cured, I will move them into a hessian sack like this, and then leave them again in the garage in a dark, cool and dry place until we need them. And hopefully they'll store okay, but I'll keep you posted. It is really important, even when you do this, to keep a really close eye on them in case there is any problems whilst they're in storage. Same with the dahlia tubers as well, which I need to get on with soon. And before you put them into storage, it's a good idea to check them before you kind of even try and cure them. Are there any squishy bits? Are there any obvious damaged sections, holes or scratches or anything that you don't want to keep in storage? If they seem okay, then you can put them into your container like this and begin the curing process and the storing process. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to head back inside now with these to put them in the garage. And then we've got some home ed book work to do this afternoon, and I'm teaching this evening. So I hope you've all had a brilliant Wednesday, and I'll catch up with you again tomorrow. Bye. Thursday morning started at the allotment to harvest another row of our potatoes. In my 15 minutes on Thursday lunchtime, I planted some crocus bulbs. We have lots naturalised in the lawn here already, but I like to add a few more each year to build on our collection. I plant the bulbs in uneven group numbers to give a more natural feel rather than a regimented feel, and then I cover the area that I've worked in with leaves because I believe this helps to disguise the newly dug soil and the smell of the bulbs from the squirrels, so it just buys me some time and hopefully they'll stay in the ground. Hi guys, the weather is turning. We've got Storm Claudia and it is horrendous. We've had so much water. I was driving this morning and the drains near us have burst and there's water everywhere, and you saw the flooding outside the front I think a minute ago I just filmed. It's miserable and it's set to continue for a good, I think 12 hours from now potentially before it slows down a bit. So I hope everyone is managing to stay dry wherever you are today and you aren't getting flooded and it's not causing too many problems in your gardens and allotments. Clearly I don't want to be outside today, so I've just run into the greenhouse to have a little look around, check what's going on. make sure everything looks okay, and then I'm going to go inside and read a magazine, because some days are not for gardening. It is a gardener's year, but this is not a day to be outside. I have actually been having some important chats and kind of things going on behind the scenes today, which I will be able to share with you next year, hopefully, or maybe at the end of this year. But things have been happening in my gardening year. It's just not any actual gardening today. So let's see how things are doing in here, and then head back inside and relax with a cup of tea and a magazine. On Saturday, I had a power hour in the kitchen garden. So first of all, I saw all of this self-seeded nigella and decided to collect a few pieces of it before the frost comes and take it into the greenhouse to see if I can overwinter it. So I collected a few different lovely long-rooted stems and then took them into the greenhouse and potted them up. Back out in the garden, it was time to say goodbye to my aubergine plant, which I was just thrilled with this year, as it was the first year I grew aubergines. The root system was just absolutely immense on this, so I took it over to one of the beds and gave it a good bash about to get all of the compost off. The tomatoes were next, and they were much easier to clear because their root system was much shallower and smaller, so I got those all cleared away and then popped the pots back where I found them. The final job I had in my power hour was to clear the beans from this area and then give it all a good weed, which was a really satisfying job because the ground was so damp. Back inside, I made us all some flapjack and checked on the overwintering chilies, which are looking great. That concludes another week in my gardening year. Thank you all so much for following along. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to sharing another week with you next time.